G'day folks, it's the Maple Monkey here again with another Marvel United gameplay video for you, and this time we're going to be launching into a homebrew battle. We're going to do a homebrew character that's not an official one. I've been really inspired by all the designers, all the fans on BGG, Rick Nichols and Scud O, and just to name a couple that I've played some of their designs here on the channel. We've had the Lizard, one of the iterations of the Lizard, and Warzone Punisher. So yeah, it's been just really inspiring. And you guys know I've been talking about X Factor and my love of Havoc and the X Factor team and all that sort of stuff for a while. And I sort of got into reading the X Factor comics from the beginning, where X Factor were actually this sort of weird re-teaming up, getting the band back together of the X-Men, the original X-Men, the first class guys, in the times when I think Professor X had died and that sort of thing. And yeah, they basically sort of rejoined under the advice or the idea from a character named Cameron Hodge, and he was one of Angel's friends, and he sort of convinced him to get the band back together and create a group of mutant hunting sort of mercenaries or whatever it might be, to go around and capture mutants, and find out where the mutants were and get people to ring in and tell them where they could find mutants to go and capture, all under the guise of sort of like actually looking after them and sort of bringing them in under their shelter and training them up and that sort of thing. This real sort of cockamamie scheme, and it was actually Cameron Hodge was playing them all along, and he really did hate mutants, and he was tricking X Factor into causing a lot of trouble for mutants and getting the public all riled up and all that sort of stuff as well, and hating mutants. So yeah, he's a real bad guy, real underhanded sort of guy, and he sort of comes back in different iterations in the X-Men stories, but his original sort of appearance is he's this sort of like just guy in a suit, guy in the background sort of pulling the strings, tricking the heroes into doing a whole bunch of bad and silly things and causing a lot of problems. So that's a long-winded introduction to Cameron Hodge. So he's going to be our villain. So now this is not Cameron Hodge. This is the fantastic model by Minis from Mars Etsy store, and this is Senator Kelly. But for the purposes of this game, he looks very similar to Cameron Hodge, guy in a suit with some glasses, old-fashioned haircut, and you could just paint his hair white basically and he'd be Cameron Hodge. So that's who we're using today. And in fact, I'm going to get another one of these Senator Kellys and actually paint him up and do exactly that. So yeah, so this is going to be our Cameron Hodge, and because thematically he is around, he basically sort of gets the first class X-Men back together, that's who I'm using today. And in fact, I've wanted to for a while now, when I get around to painting these guys, actually paint them up in their X Factor costumes from that original team sort of thing, because they look fairly similar to this. So we've got Cyclops here, we've got along with Cyclops we've got Jean Grey, sort of fresh from her trauma with the sort of Phoenix saga or something like that. So it's a bit confusing, but she's sort of like, they thought she was dead, but then she's sort of come back to life, but she's actually lost her telepathic powers, I think, at this point, and she's gained really strong telekinetic powers, but she's lost her telepathy. But that's not going to affect this game, I guess. She's just going to have her normal powers, whatever her deck tells us to do. We have Iceman, so he's kind of cool, and he in this part of the storyline he gets kidnapped by Loki or something for a couple of issues, and then comes back with like super powerful but uncontrollable ice powers. Again, we're not going to be representing that. And we have last of all here, Beast. And at this point, Beast reverts back to his sort of human-looking form in the comics. Pretty early on in his... I can't remember if he starts out like that or not, but yeah, he looks like this, basically. And something happens to him, and he starts to sort of like get this power where he becomes stronger and stronger the more he sort of exerts himself, but he becomes less and less intelligent. So that's an interesting sort of storyline for him. But yeah, that's who we're going to use today. So I've already done a video, and those of you probably watching this might have been like, why are you explaining Cameron Hodge again? But I have done a video sort of explaining Cameron Hodge before, and talked about some of the concepts of what he does. But I'll just go through briefly now just the rules, just so you know what we're doing in this game. So
Here's Cameron Hodge here. This is his villain dashboard. Now, I'm sort of just going to explain it. This is sort of, these rules here that I've written down they're not really current. This was sort of one of the original iterations, and I've been making changes and taking notes and all that sort of stuff with the playtesting process. But I just wanted to sort of show you that, show you my cool picture. There you go, Cameron Hodge. So, essentially with Cameron Hodge, his special rule of essentially, he is basically sort of operating in the shadows, and he's causing you trouble. He's wanting to harm you but not make it overt, so that you're aware it's happening. He's just sort of draining your energy, making you mistrust yourself and others, and that sort of thing. He's making you look bad in public. He's sending you out on dodgy missions and that sort of thing. Just causing lots of little niggle and that sort of thing, just to sort of unsettle you and bring about your downfall, sort of thing. So he basically is going to slow us down in our goal towards working on these villains and thugs. He's going to be sort of taking them away from us, capturing them, and turning them against us and that sort of thing as well. So that's a lot of his rules. And then essentially, because he's a civilian, we don't really fight him at the end. When we get him vulnerable, we are going to have to undo all the harm that we've done through the storyline, and that's his big thing. So the special rules for him are that anytime that you rescue a civilian or defeat a thug, in this case the civilians, we're sort of rescuing them is basically trying to get them on side and see the light and not sort of hate mutants. And the mutants we're capturing them in our X-Factor sort of role to bring them into the X-Factor compound and look after them and train them and that sort of thing. So every time we rescue a civilian or capture a thug, we are going to put them on his dashboard. That's what the rule says. So we put them on his dashboard, and we don't put them on the mission cards, and you'll see why that is in a little while. Then basically at the end of every villain turn, after you've resolved all the effects of the villain turn, then you put any remaining civilians and thugs back on the mission card. So that's how that works. And you might be thinking, well, what happens in between? Why would you put them on the dashboard and then put them straight back on the mission cards? It's because a lot of his cards, some of his cards, about half of his cards, will say to take half of either civilians or half of the thugs, rounding up, and place them back on the board from his location, and then going clockwise around, sort of one token per location. So he basically sort of steals half of your progress and actually puts it back out again. And if if he can't do that, then he's just going to take from the pool, and he's going to put a couple of extra guys out just so he's filling up locations. So that's how he sort of affects you there. He has a special rule where once you basically, he has no health. Once you make him vulnerable, then what happens is you take a token, just a random token, whatever you've got, call it the, we've been had token or whatever you want to call it, but I'm just going to use this eyeball token here, and you put that on the last hero card. So at the beginning of the first hero turn, where you have made him, or after you've made him vulnerable, you put this token down on the previous hero card in the storyline, and then what you're trying to do then is clear all of the previous hero cards from that token back to the beginning, like threat cards. So you're basically trying to play actions to from your remaining cards, to cover up the symbols on all the previous cards. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to undo all the harm that you've done in your role as X-Factor. So that's what we're going to do there. So those are his sort of big special rules. The other thing that goes along with his special rules is that if you do get KO'd by any means in the game, he doesn't repeat his BAM. He takes a card from his deck and puts it face down, and you've probably seen that in a lot of these villains have a similar effect as well. So his BAM, speaking of his BAM, again, he's not very overt. So what he does is he actually doesn't want you to be around him. So he basically isn't trying to hunt you down and do damage to you. He's trying to sort of stay in the shadows, stay away from you, send you out on missions and that sort of thing. So if you are not in his location when he BAMs, you are eligible to take one damage. So essentially what he does is he deals 1 damage to any one hero not in his location, and the heroes can choose who takes that damage. So he's just sort of, drip, 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 doing a little bit of damage to you here and there. And if, however, you manage to sort of like make sure you're keeping an eye on him and you are all in his location when he bams, instead what he does is he puts a now I think I've got a previous thing here, but he puts a thug token in each adjacent location to him. So that's what he does with his bam, and he's essentially, his villainous plot is, besides making you look bad, he's essentially trying to cause chaos, cause big uprisings against mutants. He wants the destruction of all mutants, so he's basically trying to cause chaos wherever it goes and blame it on the mutants. So he's looking to put crisis tokens out, and that's all sort of based on the overflow effects and that sort of thing as well. So that's what he's trying to do. So I've got an old version here, but essentially what he's trying to do is, because there's no health for him, I couldn't balance the game around being able to damage him, so I'm balancing the game, if I'm successful, fingers crossed, based on how easy it is for him to achieve his mission. So in a 4-player game, which we're playing today, he only needs to have crisis tokens in 4 locations, and we lose. If you play a 3-player game, he needs to have crisis tokens in 5 locations, and in a 2-player game, he needs to have crisis tokens in all 6 locations. So that's currently the rule. So part of the reason for this video is to sort of get your feedback, and we'll see how we go. And once I post this on Board Game Geek, I'm sure people will give some feedback, and we can maybe make some changes or tweaks down the track or whatever it might be, or just suggest some house ruling or changes, and people can do what they want there. So that's how that works. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention his overflow, because how does he achieve this? How does he get the crisis tokens out there? Well, essentially, if there's an overflow, if one or more tokens, civilians or thugs, can't be placed on a location, you put a crisis token out on that location, and if that location already has a crisis token, you have to put it on the next clockwise location that does not have a crisis token. So that's currently where I'm at, to try and sort of make it easy and difficult, like at the right sort of, pitch that at the right level. And that seems to be working so far to make some pretty tight games. I've won some, lost some, pretty close, and they've all been pretty close. So we'll see if that's true for this game as well. And there are some other threat effects that also sort of do have other ways to put crisis tokens out as well. So speaking of the threats, one of the very first critiques that I got of this storyline rule was that it might be too easy to game the system once you know that that's coming. If you know that that's always going to be the case, you can very strategically put out your cards in a certain order that they're easy to sort of bring back again. So the first thing is, he's always sending you out on these wild goose chases, sort of keeping you off your game and that sort of thing. So wild goose chase, basically, until this threat is cleared, the heroes play randomly. So there are 2 of these on the board, so that's what's going to be affecting us. So we actually have to play our cards randomly and be a really ineffective team, which is what X Factor are when they're in this iteration of them. And until we can clear those, then we've got a bit more agency, and we start to sort of see through the veil of this deception and that sort of thing. So that's what we're trying to do there, is get past these wild goose chases. The other one where we've got 2 of them is this. Cameron Hodge is secretly sort of the leader of this violent anti-mutant sect of fanatics called the Right. So these are his like super soldiers in their big weird smiley face helmet jetpack attacking guys. So there are 2 of these cards. They have 4 health, and they have a bam effect. So when Cameron Hodge bams, these guys will also do their thing. So the first thing they'll do is they'll check their location, and they will they'll check their location, and if there are no thugs in their location, they've succeeded in sort of wiping out mutants, and they get to put a crisis token there. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically put a crisis token there by attacking all the mutants there. So the first thing they'll do is, check the location. If there are no mutants, sweet, they'll put a crisis token down. Then if there are mutants there instead, sorry, or otherwise, if there are mutants there, sorry, thugs there, they will deal 1 damage to 1 thug, so they'll remove 1 thug. And the other thing is they'll always, if there are any heroes there, they'll deal 1 damage to every hero in that location. Interestingly with these guys, to make them work, there's a special rule that says they must place a thug in that location at the start of the game. So if the starting location were, for example, the X-Jet here, they would have to put a thug on that location, even though there's no symbol for that in the starting setup there. So that's the right Fanatic soldiers. There we go. So technically at this point in the storyline, we don't really know that they exist, but you know, they might pop up to attack us and we'll be like, who were those guys? So that's them, and they attack the mutants as well. So they're in these 2 locations here. We've got our Wild Goose Chasers in these 2 locations, and then these 2 cards are essentially a set as well, but they're sort of mirror images of each other. So I forget what I've called them in the final iteration, but one is basically the mutants, the destructive, sort of dangerous mutants sort of attacking back against the humans. I think that's this one here, actually. Yeah, here you go, mutants fighting back. This is a pretty normal threat card where you have 3 stars, 3 heroic actions that you have to place on here to clear it. But while this threat is in play, if there are more thugs than civilians on that card, then at the end of the villain's turn, you check that at the end of the villain's turn, and if that's true, then it says here you place a crisis token on it. That was an old rule. Now what you do is you remove civilians. If the thugs outnumber the civilians, you remove civilians equal to the difference from your mission card. So they basically sort of are undoing all the good work you're trying to do, I guess. And then the other one is the opposite of that, so mutant persecution. So if the civilians outnumber the thugs there, then you remove thugs from the mission card equal to the difference there. And I forget which ones they were. Let's see, it doesn't really matter, but I had these thematically put out. So I think the mutants are getting attacked here in the Morlock tunnels, which is something that happens around about this time in the stories. And then the mutants fighting back, they're attacking the police station there. So we'll put that one there. So that's what's happening there. And they have an interesting setup rule as well, in that to make this seesaw back and forth interesting to start with, you always start with, regardless of what's printed here. So here I should be putting an extra thug out, but in this case you always put exactly 1 thug and 1 civilian out. So hopefully I've explained that relatively well. I think I sort of got lost in the weeds there a little bit, but hopefully you were able to follow it. And thematically, X Factor at this time sort of had bases of operation, I think, in San Francisco and New York. So I've got New York as our starting location, and Hodge is over in, now it's actually the Brooklyn Bridge, but I did see that there's a San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge type location coming out in the new Multiverse campaign. So that's just thematically for this game, I'm going to consider that San Francisco. Even though it's nowhere near each other. Now, I've also just put a jet here, the X-Jet, so we're traveling back and forth. We've got the New York Police Headquarters, just because we're in New York. Also, the Morlock tunnels. At one point in the storyline, the X-Factor go in and try and rescue some of the Morlocks from being attacked. And now we've got Limbo here as well. That's just got nothing to do with really any of this, but later on in the comics, at one point, Cameron Hodge, I think, gets sent to Limbo or something by magic or something like that, in a totally unrelated storyline. So I just thought it'd be fun just to put that in as well. So there we go. I think that's sort of explained everything. We've got our starting heroes here. We've got Cyclops. So we'll just get his 3 cards to start with. We've got a couple of precision blasts, and we've got optic. Oh, he's got all his specials out. That's a good draw. Well, or is it? One. Oh, I've got to shuffle these. Now, one thing I didn't really explain, but I'll go into more detail so we can actually get into the game. But when we're playing back and trying to conquer the storyline, wilds are an interesting thing because wilds are a bit trickier to replace. So you can be really powerful to get your wilds out early. If you're randomly drawing them, that's really good. But they make it a bit harder at the end of the game. Whereas if you've managed to save the wilds, it might have been a bit harder to get to the point you were trying to get to. But then they're quite powerful for racing back down the track, sort of thing. So here we have Marvel Girl, and of course, if you don't play with your wilds, then no harm, no foul. We've got double heroics, and then she's got an ability here, telekinesis. Star heroic or punch in your or an adjacent location. I realized I didn't really show off Cyclops' rules here. So we've got precision blast, one punch in an adjacent location. Exactly the same card here, but this one's a little different. Deal 1 damage to everything else in this location except Havoc, his brother. Discard all civilians there. So interesting. We've got Bobby. Here's old Bobby. Oh, I've drawn. What was that? I drew 4 cards for Iceman here. So, Ice Slide. Place a frozen token on your location. Heroes may leave this location without performing movement. At the beginning of your next turn, discard the token. We've got a pretty standard card there, and we've got Freeze. Attach a frozen token to a villain in your location. Next villain turn, that villain cannot move, and the token is discarded. Interesting. All right, and 1, 2, 3. Here's old Beast. 1, 2. Oh, he's got a lot of Star Athlete. Just got lots of symbols there, and another one. Lots of symbols. Gain one of any of those, and he's got some movement and heroics there. So, all right. So there we go. Interesting start. And yeah, let's get into it. Let's see if X Factor can work out the deception and then do something about it. So we'll see. And you'll notice I'm using Ronin here. That's just, I was just looking for some cards to sort of create a bit of stability for the paper that I've chucked in there. So let's get started. Okie dokie. Alright, well, let's see what Cameron Hodge is going to do for us. Let's shuffle this up a little bit. Let's see what mission he's going to send us out on first. Alrighty then. I realised I don't actually have the frozen token ready, so we'll just use something else for the frozen token. Maybe this purpley blue one. Maybe like a lighter blue? I don't know, maybe not. I'll just use this for Iceman. Okay, let's get stuck in. As I'm playing this, I'm also, we're very close to going over another milestone in the Marvel United campaign, the multiverse campaign as well. I think we're close to sort of getting another stretch goal, so I'm sort of eagerly awaiting that as well. 1, 2, so draw 2, going to draw 1. Here we go. So we've got a move and a bam, it looks like. So again, some of these cards, I'll hold them up just so you can see them, but and apologies for the horrific art, but just so you can get a sense for it, and then I'll explain what the card does. These ones are all pretty much unchanged, so these will be good, but he's going to move 3. Oh, interesting. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, and now he's going to bam. So he would deal 1 damage to a hero not in his location, but in this case, there are no heroes in his location. So, well, we could be under a lot of pressure here straight up, because what he's going to do is he's going to put a thug in each of the adjacent locations. Then we're going to have a couple of bams. Now this will be interesting. So we start in his location. Now every one of our heroes is going to take a damage here because the right soldier does that. But before we do that, we actually check. So we see, are there no thugs? No, there is 1 thug. So he's going to damage 1 thug. So he discards him. Then he does a damage to each of us. Right. I might... do I want to be damaging everything? Maybe not. Maybe I want this. Maybe I want moves and punches, and that way I've got more certainty with my random gameplay. I know that I'm likely to get some movement with old Cyclops there. So Jean Grey. Maybe I should just get rid of this single movement. 1 there. Pop that there. Iceman. What's he going to get rid of? sort of like his move and star. Place a frozen token in your location, may leave. Maybe that one, maybe get rid of the ice slide. That could be good though. Well, I've made that decision. And, well, how about we get rid of the single punch for Beast? Although, see, there's something to be said for using this, you know, the lesser action cards, because then there's less of them to put out, but I guess it's taking us longer to do what we need to do, so yeah, let's do that. Wow, we've all been hit, we're all down to 2 cards each. Yikes. Okay. Then he's going to, if you noticed, he's going to drop some more things down there, and now I haven't coloured them in here, but I've just written this note for myself, so that's going to be, they're all going to be blue, so he's putting the civilians out. Right, so I think I've done everything right there. I know I'm going to do it at some point during this game, and probably multiple times, but I'm really worried about making you know, rules goofs, because I'm trying to show off how this mode works, and you know, the more mistakes I make, the less sort of you get a sense for what I'm aiming for with this one. So we'll see how we go, fingers crossed. So let's just make sure. So he's moved 3, he's done his ban, which was to deal damage to people not in his location. He couldn't do that, so he put out 2 thugs. Then he, we checked the other ban. Oh, sorry, I did forget this one up here, didn't I? Oh, I almost made a mistake. So this guy is also going to ban, so he gets rid of this thug. And now these 2 thug locations, or these 2 right soldier locations, are now in prime position to start putting crisis tokens out on them. Unless we can get some thugs out there, or get rid of them. Okay, interesting. So that's happened. He's damaged us, and then he's put some more civilians out. 3 here and 1 on each side. All right. Okay, Hodge, you really hit us hard there to begin with. He's not to be trusted. All right, so we've got Cyclops. I've got my 3 cards there. I just drew a heroic, but I'm not allowed to know what card I'm playing here. So let's just see. I guess I've got some options. If I get the precision stuff, I can damage, or I can, you know, get rid of these mutants, these thugs, or this guy. And if I've got the star, I can rescue. So let's see what we get. We've got the precision strike, so I can move and punch in an adjacent location. Right. Oh boy. So I could try and get rid of this wild goose chase. This is getting pretty full though all over here, so I sort of want to stop that from overflowing. This says, while the threat card is in play if there are more thugs than civilians. Oh, I should have checked this too. This didn't trigger at the end of the villain turn because these guys are equal now. So that's, and that's locked down now until it, well, even once it overflows, but this is locked down. So we're not worried about this effect at the moment, but we are worried about overflowing here. Alright, and getting a crisis token. So, I do want to start gathering some of these guys, and maybe if I... which way do I want to go? Maybe over here, so we can start working on this, but I think I would like to rescue, punch out a thug, but rescue him, and put him on the dashboard. Even though I've played this game a bunch of times now with Hodge, over and over and over again, I still go to put him on here. And that's one of the things I am mindful of in this. I understand that there's a few things here that I think are going to be easy to forget rules, but that's the nature of it. So you guys can let me know what you think about it. But there you go. So I've moved, but before I moved, I did the attack in the adjacent zone, and then I moved. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Also to try and get away from this right soldier, unless I was going to double down and attack him. That's another option too. Alright, but I think we need to sort of get rid of these too. Alright, Marvel Girl. So she's going to be given the ability of a move, which is going to let her move here. And that's why I was thinking, well, I've probably free to at least attack one of these guys. Alright. Marvel Girl's going to draw 1. She gets another telekinesis, which is exactly the same as her previous one, except it's got, instead of a wild, it's got a star there, a heroic. Okay, so let's shuffle, and see what she gets. I'll pop that on there. She gets a telekinesis. Okay, so she's got a star, and then she can do a star or a punch in our location or an adjacent location. Plus she can move. So I think what I want to do with her is I want to come over this way. I want to use a star, I believe. Whoops, over here. Pop that down there. Now I can use a punch and... Oops, sorry, the star goes there. Oh, I didn't explain, or I didn't sort of highlight, these have the 3 different symbols rather than, so they've got the movement, the star, and the punch. Just to sort of ensure that you're trying to put a lot of those different symbols out in this early part of the game. Alright, so that's that one there. And then I can either, I can rescue, or I could rescue one over here. Move, star. Yeah. Or I could put a punch here. I think we need to get these down so we're not overflowing too badly. So I'm going to do that. So that puts one there and one there. Okay, and so she's moved, she's done a star here, and she's done a star in this adjacent location, and that has allowed us to rescue there. Alright, last hero before, just drawn a card, what was it? It was a move and a punch for Iceman here. So last hero before Hodge goes again. Alright. Alrighty then. Let's see. We get the move and the punch. Okay, interesting. Oh, this actually could be alright. So there you go. Oh, move, punch, and star. Okay. Do we go over here and punch and star and try working on this? Do we have sort of like maybe 2 teams? Or we could come through here, we could put a punch on here, and then rescue another one. But I think I like the idea. Ooh, interesting. Got to be careful with how I clear this out too, don't I? What have we got? Mutants fighting back. While this threat is in play, if there are more thugs than civilians in this location, that's bad. So I want to get rid of the thugs here especially. So yeah, let's go this way. I'm going to use the movement. I'm going to... Ooh. Let's put a star on this one. Heroic. And then let's use the punch to get rid of this thug. Let's put him around this way. And that way the thugs are less likely to sort of trigger this effect. Yeah. Oh, big brain move. Alright. No COVID brain anymore. You guys are like, that was a terrible move. Okay, so. I think we're good. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, feeling good. Although that's not a lot of progress, but yeah, we'll see. I feel like I'm sort of spreading myself out a bit thin here. Not making much headway. Well, we'll see what Hodge does. Alright, Hodge is going to... What's he doing? Oop, a lot of text there. So you can just see this is going to be a text one. So this is sort of bad for us. Oh no, this is not too bad. Alright, so he's going to move 2. You'll notice there's no BAM on this card. Even though I originally had a BAM, you can see one there. Alright, so Hodge is going to move 2. 1, 2. He always moves clockwise, by the way. Alright, and then basically this is the one where basically he's getting rid of half of our progress with one of the types. Luckily we got the civilian one there, so we've only got 1 civilian, so half of 1 is 1 if we're rounding up, so we remove that, and it goes back onto one of the original versions of this. I just discarded them, but I thought, oh, if we're trying to sort of ramp up the overflow to make it difficult, let's do this. So he puts it out here, and then if we had more, we'd be putting them around the place like this. Now this is not good. Oh yes, this is not good at all. Oh no. Alright, so then we put these guys back, we put these guys here. Now I'll have to check the timing of how I've written this. I think I've said both of these things happen at the end of the villain turn. Yeah. Because what happens is, now at the end of the villain turn, I put the 2 thugs out, and that's done. So we get that progress. However, this says, while the threat is in play, if there are more civilians in the location, then we remove the difference of thugs in here. So there's 2 civilians, 1 thug, so that's a difference of 1, so we're going to lose 1 thug from here. Now, I can't remember, I think I might have made that a BAM effect. So that would actually happen during the BAM phase, and then this happens at the end, and we wouldn't have to discard these guys. But let's just play, because I haven't done that now, let's just play that I lose 1 there. Okay, that's a bummer. Okay, you can see that we're still sort of playing it through here. This is why this is a playtesting sort of playthrough as well. Okay, yeah, I have to think about that. Alright, so let's go on with the beast. Okay, 1 card here, so he gets a move and a punch. Not happy about that, only having 1 thug on the board after 3 turns there. Okay, see what we can do. Oh, we get a move, a heroic, and a anyone. We can gain any 1 token. So I've already got a move and a punch here. So that could give me a couple of punches. I could really do some damage to this guy, but I think I'd also like to come over here and help out over here. Or, oh boy. See, I could really make some headway. But these places are about to go, aren't they? I've got to focus on something. So maybe we're just going to have to accept that they're going to get. Maybe Hodge can put out some dudes. Although he's not going to get a chance to before the BAM effect happens, right? Maybe the right soldiers are just going to have to do their thing. Alright, let's try and work on this. Because what we can do, we can move. We can punch. Where's that punch? We can place another movement token down here and complete that mission, or that threat. So that's good, that threat's out of action. So we've moved, we've put the punch token on, we've put another movement token on, so we've got a heroic, and we can gain another token. So I think what I'd like to do is rescue another civilian. We may as well, just to try and keep the overflowing down, and then maybe give myself maybe do we double down on civilians now? There's a lot of civilians out. Maybe we need to do that. Maybe they're the next. So maybe let's give myself another heroic token for beast. Okay, that's the plan. Then I can move to any location I like. Ooh, interesting. Maybe I move beast over here so he can keep helping with Iceman. Yeah, that might help. All right. And then these 2 guys can keep going this way. That could be a good thing. Alright, so Beast has done that. Alright, then it is Cyclops' turn. Alright, Mr. Cyclops, what are you going to do? I wonder if any of these locations can heal me. Alright. Ooh, double punch. Have we got movement? There's not a lot of punching. Oh, geez, do we go back and try and punch this guy out? Because I've got a movement. Poor old Marvel Girl. Hopefully she can get some movement, because otherwise she's stuck there doing 2 punches in this cruddy location. So it's no good. Alright, let's head over here. And we can rescue a civilian. So we've got 1 movement, 1 heroic. Yep. Oh, I do have to make sure that the civilians are not there. Oh boy. Because otherwise we're going to lose more and more, aren't we, of these thugs? But alright, we'll see how we go. He's moved over here. He's done a rescue attempt there, and he's now going to deal 2 damage to this right soldier. So I've got a feeling I might take a hit here, but hopefully it'll be worth it and I can get rid of another threat there. So put that there. Right. Marvel Girl, are you going to come over here and maybe you can deal with this if we get a movement? Alright, Marvel Girl, just need movement. Come on. These wild goose chases are setting us up for failure here. Alright, here we go. Alright, please be a movement. Please be a movement. Oh, no. Oh, rubbish. Okay, so that's two big big cards there for us to try and clear later, and they don't give us really any. Oh man, see this is the rift between Marvel Girl and Cyclops at this point. They're just not on the same page. So yeah, she's using 2 of these wilds plus 2 punches to rescue a single civilian. Not great at all, especially if he now takes half our civilians. Okay, so what is he going to do? That's that felt bad. All right, well, things could be looking grim here. All right, what have we got? Phew. All right, so this one he moves 4. It's exactly the same effects as the other one, except it's the opposite. So as the previous one where he took half of our civilians. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to land in Cyclops' location. There's no bamming. We do, however, have to look at this. So he is going to place out. He's going to discard half of the thugs remaining and start putting them out. There are no thugs remaining on the dashboard. So what happens there is if that's the case, if there are no thugs at all on the dashboard, he gets to put out 2 thugs on either side of him. Sorry, one thug on each side. So he puts 1 here and 1 here. Okay. Now, as we go around, we look at these locations. So while this cert is in play, if there are more civilians than thugs, they take another thug from the mission card based on the difference, so we lose our remaining thug there. So that's nasty. Alright, so we're really hoping to hammer down on these, because now at the end of his turn we put these back here, so that's handy. Alright, the right soldiers don't trigger because he didn't do a BAM, so we've been given a little bit of a reprieve there. If we can sort of get rid of this right soldier here, we can maybe save this location from getting a crisis token. So who's up next? We did Beast, then we've got, so it's Iceman. Alright, so Iceman, what are you up to? We've got to draw 2, because we haven't, even though we removed that effect, we've still got another wild goose chase over here too. So, boy oh boy. Alright, so we've got, 2 wilds. Alright. Interesting. I'll put those there. Alright. Wow. Okay, we've got 2 rescues. So not enough. We don't have enough to get around here to deal with him. But we do have plenty. So we can do a lot here. We can completely remove this threat by spending the 2 stars from Marvel Girl. So we may as well do that. Then, we can discard a thug from any location if we stay here, but I think, do I? Oh, maybe we do. Maybe we do that. Because what I'm thinking is with these 2 wilds, we could move and make a start on this, or we could just completely get rid of these 2 and we're not close to overflowing then for a little while. Maybe we'll do that. I do like the idea of staying there, and then we can remove 1 more thug. Let's maybe remove 1 there, although I guess now we're sort of going even, aren't we? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So We did the 2 wilds, so we removed 1 of each. So we don't have to worry about the balance here now because we've removed that card. Oh, if that's the case, wait a minute. If we're removing 1 of each, let's maybe just double down on these 2. Let's get rid of 2 civilians. I like it. We're trying to change the hearts and minds of the civilians, of the humans. Okay, and yeah, we'll do the punch on that thug over there. All right. That's our plan. That's using the end of turn location there. Righty then. And that is another threat cleared. So we've got 2 threats cleared. Okay, feeling a little bit better about things because now I know that Marvel Girl is going to get a useful... No, Cyclops? Cyclops is going to get a useful card here. No, it's not Cyclops, it's Beast. Sorry. Oh, it's Beast. Yikes. Okay, well, he's got a star. He's got a heroic there, but it's not really what I was after. Because what I really want to get back to here, take this guy out before he can put a crisis token here. But I also kind of feel like Beast should head this way and start working on this wild goose chase. Oh boy. Alright Beast, what have you got for us? Give me something useful. Oh my goodness, now this is amazing, but it's also... Yikes, it's really tricky. They're going to be tough to get through. Okay. Okay, well let's Wow. With that, we could simply just go here and just wipe that and clear it. Which could be good. Because then we've got agency, and then whatever she's got, we might be able to choose what we can do and go here. And we've got the wild, so we can still get rid of him. Yeah, big brain move. Alright. Is it really a big brain move, or is it having 4 wilds? I think it's having 4 wilds, so that's the ultimate easy mode. Alright, so Beast is going to play that card there, obviously, because we get no choice. He is going to use the first wild to move. He is going to use his remaining 3 wilds to remove that threat by placing 1 of each token down. We have now our 3rd threat cleared. And... oh, what does this say? You may discard 2 cards from your hand. Nope, not going to happen because that would KO us. To the bottom of your deck to delay the next villain turn by 1 card. I mean, that's an amazing ability, but I don't think I can afford to discard 2 cards. Yikes. No, thank you. Okay, so I think that's everything. I hope I'm not missing anything. It's not Marvel Girl's turn, is it? It's Cyclops' turn. Man, I keep getting the turn orders, what I think is going to happen mixed up. Alright, 1 more card for Cyclops. Shuffle. And we get a movement and a punch in an adjacent location, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, another precision blast. But he's got what he needs. So what he needed was 2 punches somehow, which he's got 3 essentially there this turn. But he's going to use these 2 wilds to defeat this right soldier. Oh. I didn't think about this, did I? Didn't think about this. Because I'm about to clear a threat, and that's going to put us, put Cameron Hodge under pressure, and then he's going pretty quickly. So, what I might do is use 1 of the wilds as a punch, so to take 1 of the health off. Then use his movement to move to another location. Actually, before he does that, he's going to use his last wild to rescue a civilian. Then he's going to move to an adjacent location. So let's move... what we could do here is move to this location. we're going to use this adjacent punch now back in this location to actually remove that crisis, or that threat there. Right, where am I going to put this? Put these back in here. And now that he's landed here, he's going to discard one thug from this. Ooh. Well, if we're not aiming for thugs, maybe that's good. Maybe we're not worried too much about this one now, if we're just doubling down on civilians. So let's get rid of that one. I could do it from here, but yeah, let's do it. No. You know what? This is two. This is two. So either way, I'm going to do it. Oh no. From any location. We can do it from there. Yep, I'm going to do it from there. So boom. Okay. But we are here, aren't we? So we could do things here. Let's do it from here. Alright. Okay. Where am I putting it? Here. Alright. Bingo. Done. Alright, so Cyclops, thank you very much. Very good. And now, from now on... Oh, no, you know what I just did then? Pretty sure Beast was the one that cleared it, right? He cleared that? So we should have been able to choose. What do we have? Well, let's show you what we have. Well, either way, we're sort of kind of doing the same thing there, aren't we? Move and punch, move and punch. This one let us do the move and punch and do it from an adjacent spot. So I think that's still our best card. So there we go. Just got to remember, I'll flip these up now so I can choose these cards from now on. All right, so we're going with Hodge. Oh. Oh no, yeah, that was our fourth one. I was thinking we just cleared that and that was our fourth threat, but this was our fourth threat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we did 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was just thinking, oh wait, we were supposed to have Cameron Hodge go before Cyclops, but no, that's fine. Okay, so what's he going to do? Oh, we got lucky again. So he's going to move 1. Where is he? 1. He's not going to bam. He's going to discard half of the thugs. There are no thugs. So what he will do is he will place a thug here. And he will place a thug here. That's about it for this turn. We do look at this, but there's... well, actually what would happen is then we put these back out again. Let's say, I just feel like this is like the most detrimental to the player is probably the best way to do this one at this stage until I clarify what we do here. Put these guys back and then there's a difference of 1. So we put that guy there. Alright. Thank you. Alright, thank you Cameron Hodge. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. We've just got to get 3 more civilians if we can. And then for him not to get rid of them. Alright, so the only problem is he's put out 2 of these ones where he steals thugs. So there's more likelihood he's going to start stealing civilians from us. So we want to be getting in excess of 3 civilians here if we can. Okay. So whose turn is it now? It must be Marble Girl's turn. Alright, Marble Girl. You've got 3 cards, but we can choose now. We've just got to move and a star, which sounds pretty good in this situation if we're wanting to do some rescuing. We've got a move and a punch, not as useful right now. And a wild and either a star or a punch. Now the wild is tempting, but it's also difficult to get rid of. So I'm thinking the double move and a star is a bit awkward here, but where is she? Well, she sort of needs to get somewhere where she can do stars here, right? So let's move, rescue, And should we... Ooh, we don't want to move again because this guy's trouble. So we don't really want to go there unless we have to. Ooh, what I could do is I could move back here, and then this says I can go wherever I want. Where do I want to go? You know, to be honest, this is like, if we're trying to get more civilians, we do want to be up around here, so I might leave her there. Okay, so that was 2 moves and a heroic. Okay, so Mr. Iceman, he's got his ice slide back again. Where is he? He could put his ice slide here to let Mr. Man move pretty quickly, or he could freeze Hodge, but he's not really anywhere near him. He could get to him, 1, 2. He could freeze Hodge, but I don't know that I'd really need to freeze Hodge at the moment, I don't think. I could do a move and a star, and really we're trying to do some rescuing here, aren't we? So I think that's the name of the game. Move and star. So, although it'd be nice to have this to then come back later and get rid of that, but let's just try it. So, move and star. Iceman. Well, ooh, okay. Gotta make a choice here, because ideally, you know, we could go here, rescue over here and over here, but I've only got the 2 movement, which means I'm gonna have to put myself in danger here, I think. I can go 1, rescue, and then 2, rescue, but now I'm in a BAM spot there, but it might be worth it. We've got 3, so as long as he doesn't take civilians away, we are looking good. Okay, it is now Hodge's turn because he is under pressure. We've completed 1 of the missions. Alright, what's he going to do? He is going to... Ooh, okay, so good news. I think we're about to complete our run here, our threat, but he is going to do some damage to us. So, well, actually, we don't put these back yet. It's the end of the turn. So what we have to do is we're going to move him 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we've done pretty well at sort of keeping the locations down and getting rid of these ones that we're going to put out crisis tokens. So that's good. The trick is though, when we start trying to race back this way, we're concentrating. If we concentrate so much on putting the symbols out here, this starts to fill up because we're not then using our symbols to rescue. So that's where it gets a bit dangerous. So we'll see how this goes. That's how it seems to have played out before when I've played it. Alright, so he's moved 5, then he does a BAM. Now he's basically going to BAM any one hero that's not in his location, so we can choose. We know that also this BAM is going to take place. Oh, and we're about to get a crisis token here too. Interesting. So, it's all coming together. So, I don't want to BAM Iceman if I can help it. Although having a character with more options in their hand is good, but like speeding up his turn, I don't know, is it worth doing that? Taking both hits on Iceman. Do we have enough time? I think we've got, because we've got pretty close here. We've got pretty close here. Like, we don't have a lot of way to go back. So it might be handy just to take 1 hit. Like, 1 character take the hits. I'm going to game it that way. So, let's see. So we'll choose Iceman to lose 1 card. Right. Then we go through, look for more BAMs. This BAM. So here we look at the card. It says, are there no thugs in this location? If so, put a crisis token out. So we've got our first crisis token. Okay, then there's no thugs, no thugs to BAM, so we are just going to then take a damage for any hero in this location, 1 damage. He takes another damage, so he gets knocked out. We lose this card to the bottom of our deck. There we go. Now, well, he really put his body on the line there, Iceman. He went in, did the last rescue, but it was enough. That was good. So now we put these guys on here at the end of... Oh, before I do that, it's not the end of the turn, because it is... he's done the BAM, he's done his BAM. Now we've got to put out thugs, this one is, so Let's see if we've got any more overflows. We put 1 here, 2 here. Oh yeah, we're getting close to, they've filled up nice and quick now. If he gets a whole bunch of BAM cards out, this could be pretty quick. So we've got to work quickly here. So he puts his thugs out. Then we check this. This is, so I'm thinking this is a bit of an awkward card. Now that I'm reading it, thinking about how the game generally works, this might be better to have as a BAM effect, so I've got a timing for it, because otherwise it's like, when is this supposed to happen? Just at the end of the turn. So this doesn't trigger now though, because they're equalized, but I do have to remember that's sort of still in play. Okay, so now we put these back on the card. That is cleared. So now we have to put out the eyeball card here. So this goes on the previous card in the storyline, so that is that card there. So basically we have to clear this card and all of the cards back to Cyclops' first card to win. That's how we defeat Hodge. We can't actually deal any damage to him. So let's see how that works. So we're going to say, who's the next player? Is it Beast? Alright, well Beast has already got a star here, so that's pretty handy. And we get to draw a card. So if we have a look here, the way this works is, let's say we play this card out here. We now have, well, this is actually a very good card to play, or even, yeah, I like it. Okay, because what happens is you get to use the 2 cards here, and in fact this card can be used, so this card can always be used to pay for itself essentially. You can do this and this, so you get these 2 actions, and it is one of the previous 2 cards you have to clear, so you can just basically put those 2 straight on there. And then these 2 symbols here I can, and I could use them to do other things as well if I wanted to. So now I've got to choose, you know, do I want to move and try and clear some locations? I'm not really near any civilians. I do have 2 movements. If I didn't choose to use that to cover that up, I could have gone back this way. But I do have to remember that going backwards, I cannot start filling up the rest of these cards until I've done this one. So you sort of want to do them as early as you can. So that's why I figure I'll put those 2 there. Now I could move and do a star, but there's nowhere to really do that. So I'm just going to use these 2. And also, because it happens to be that this is a movement and a star, it sort of makes sense that I want to use these 2 to clear that. And now the next thing I'm going to be looking for is a movement to get rid of that one. Unfortunately, I'm going to need wilds to get rid of these. And this is the rule with wilds. So you must clear a wild with a wild. And if you can't do that, you can choose, if you've got a wild, you can choose not to do that. But you can also choose to use 2 of any symbol in any combination to clear a wild as well. So either a single wild or 2 of any other symbol. So yeah, that can be a bit tricky to get through, especially if you've sort of burnt through all your wilds early. So that was Beast's turn. He's going to do that. Yep. So, all right, we've been had. Oh, it's that Hodge. It was him all along. All right. So now we go to Cyclops' turn. So we get to draw a card, and we have, what are we looking for? Movements and wilds. Where is Cyclops? He's over here. Oh, deal damage to everything else in this location except how we do have a move and a star. We've got this star. What I'm thinking, I mean, we could use this because this gives us a bunch of symbols, but this is going to help us clear this and make this a little bit less dangerous for overflowing, so I think it might be worth it. So we're going to use, and we got lucky here with having 2 stars to be able to get straight through that one, so we're going to play this one. And you can see it's a lot easier if you've cleared those 2 wild goose chases at this stage. It's a lot easier to go back and clear these. So let's deal 1 damage to everything in this location. Oh, sorry, that's 1, 2, 3. We're still following the normal rules though, aren't we? So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then, because it doesn't say discard, it says deal 1 damage. Yep. So. Then discard all civilians there are no civilians there. Now we've got a star, and we've got a move and a star. So we can put the movement here, and then we can cover 1 of the... So you can't just put a single thing out on a wild in one turn. You have to sort of cover it in one turn. So you don't have to cover everything in the card in one turn, but you do have to cover each symbol in one turn. So we're going to put the 2 stars, 1 and 2 on there. So nailed it. And then this end of turn location says we can get rid of another, well, I'm guessing we should do this one because there are quite a few thugs there. So you may, now, ooh, interesting. When I did this earlier, this one says discard, so that's actually not defeat. Wow. Luckily we're not going for the thugs in terms of that, because there was I probably should remove this, because I think at some point there was a thug that I used this on that should have been discarded and not defeated, so I'll get rid of that because that's fair. Okay, alrighty then. I think we're done there. Yep, we did all that. Okay, so it is Hodge's turn. Okay, how far along are we? Okay, alright. Feeling a bit better about these locations now. Okay, let's see. One of these cards. Now, luckily, since Bobby has been knocked out, he is sort of out of the game at the moment, so he can't take another hit from the BAM there. Alright, what's Hodge going to do? He's going to do some more BAMing. Alright, so he's going to move 1. He is going to take his luxury jet here. He's going to BAM, so I'll have to choose one of my heroes to take a BAM. Let's get rid of, who's got good cards? Generic cards. Let's get, what have we got coming up? So you can start looking at like what you've got. Who's likely to be having a turn next? So we've got Marvel Girl and then him. Let's get rid of this single wild here, I guess, from Cyclops. So Cyclops will take the hit. The other two look like they've got some fairly good cards for what we've got coming up. So Cyclops takes the hit with that single heroic. That's from the BAM. Then we look at other BAMs. So he would put a crisis token out, but he's already got one there. Now, no, that effect only happens from overflow. Yeah. So his ability doesn't keep hitting the locations like that. That would be an interesting way to up the difficulty though. So you can't just leave these guys alone. They could keep going around in the late game, but as the rules are written, the going around like crisis token sort of escalating is only from the overflow effect. So he doesn't place another one of these out. There's no thug to damage there. There's no hero technically here to damage, so we skip him. We go around. These guys aren't outnumbering each other, so that's fine. And then Hodge is going to put out 2, 1, and 2. Ooh. So what are they? Thugs or civilians? Civilians. So he's going to put out... Oh, we got lucky with the 2 there, didn't we? Because we only needed 1 here. 1 more would have overflowed. And then he puts 2 out here too. Wow. Alright. So I've got these in combinations of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 3, 1, I think, with these ones. So, okay. So, whose turn is it now? It must be Marvel Girl. Alright, Marvel Girl, what can you bring to the party here? What do we need? Ooh, we need lots of wilds. Well, let's use this then, because... Is this going to be useful? Yeah, let's clear these wilds out of here. So, this is a big speed hump here. Alright, so, wow, this is not looking good. Okay. Should I slow down and start trying to clear some of these locations? Where is Marvel Girl? She's over here. She's going to use this wild to clear that wild. Then she's going to use either a punch... Oh no, this is in a different... Punch or star in yours or an adjacent location. Oh, let me think about this then. Hold on. 1, 2... And then the star, yeah. Alright, well we can't do much with that. Yeah, we may as well do this. So we can do the wild. Oh, that double wild there is really going to stump us. Alright, so we can do the wild to clear that single one. But we can't use this because this doesn't say, oh, it's just a free wild or, sorry, a heroic or a punch. It is only specifically for in your or an adjacent location, so we can't just use it for clearing. So she is going to not be able to use, because if she could have combined those two, she could have at least cleared one more wild threat there, but she can't do that. So she may as well spend this time clearing this location. So let's do that. Let's go. We're going to have a what? We're going to have a. Well, let's get rid of 2 civilians actually. Oh, and I should have put these guys back on here after his turn here. So these guys should be here. Alright, let's get rid of those 2. Technically we put them here, there's nowhere really to put them, but he could put them back out again if he gets the card that where he steals a bunch of guys, so we are supposed to put them out here. Alright, so yeah, 2 stars, so this star and this star, that's what we'll do. We'll rescue those 2 from here. Okay. And Iceman. Alright, oh, now see, Iceman's who we need, because we need to be able to choose our cards perfectly here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, Mr. Iceman, you've got a wild from Jean Grey or Marvel Girl, so let's put that straight out. No question. And now we ideally want a double. Are you kidding me? We don't have a single double action, but what we do have is what we need. There's the movement. Oh, sorry, there's the punch, but we've got a wild, so let's use that. Okay. Wow. So, we took that hit with the Iceman so we could come back strong, and he's given us this hand. Alright, so, okay, we'll pop that there. And then Hodge. Okay, Hodge, what are you doing? Hodgepodge. He is going to do some more bamming, it looks like. So he's going to move 2. 1, 2. Well, he can't. Oh, I should have stood Iceman back up again. Oh no, Iceman's going to take another hit. Alright, so Iceman can't take the hit from Hodge because he is where he is. So we need to decide. Cyclops has only got the one. Oh, hold on a second. Where did Iceman take that hit? It must have been here. So what we have to do, I did forget, sorry guys. Sorry. You guys are shouting at the screen probably. I was supposed to put, oh, you know what? I was supposed to put whatever the next card was, but we'll just put this one here. Alright, so now things are a bit dicey, because now I'm like, I only got the 4 cards there. I've only got a few here, but they're all double thingies for a lot of them. But do I take the hit on Cyclops, try and get a lot more good Cyclops cards out, but that's going to race the deck a little bit more, isn't it? That's Marvel. She's got some good cards there. Let's do it. Alright, Cyclops, you can take this hit. Okay, so Cyclops is going to take the hit from the BAM. That is going to allow Hodge to put one more card out. This card goes back underneath. Right. Then we put him down. This BAM, we're going to lose 1 card with Iceman. What's Iceman doing? Boy, it's really hard to know. Where is he? So he's here. We've got a lot of characters to get through before him because he had the last turn. So we've got we've got Beast, Cyclops, Marvel Girl. Let's say Beast. Okay, so he might need a move or a punch. Let's get rid of the star. Okay, that's my rough working it out. Now we have and nothing else happens there because there's no more tokens to go out. we're all good there. But we've got to now put out 2, 1, and 2, and these are thugs. So 2, 1. Good thing we cleared that before. 1 and 2. So we put the 2 here and 1 more in this location. All right, guys. What can we do? Iceman had a turn. So Beast, right? Beast. Now you've got an extra. Oh, good. So here we go. Beast is bringing some good stuff to the party here. Oh, interesting. What have we got? What did Iceman have here? Let's do this, because Iceman had a wild. Well, hold on a second. Got to get through those punches though over there. So. Yeah, let's do this. So we've got one wild that, one heroic that Beast had earned from one of his previous brilliant strategist or brilliant intelligence, brilliant scientist cards. Then he has a wild which he's going to use to cover the other star there, the other heroic. Well, he's got a punch which he can use here, but then he's only got a movement. So what we might do is move to this location and then remove a thug from now. Man, they're all pretty full, aren't they? This could be very dicey. Let's remove, let's just card a thug from here, maybe? Oh, yikes. Okay. I don't like it. This one actually does get discarded. Okay. So, moving a punch. Okay, who's next? It is Beast. Oh, Cyclops. Is that right? Yep. Alright, Cyclops gets 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cards. Oh, that's what we need. That's what we want. We want some heroics, so we can just do whatever we want. Let's not even think about it. Yeah, let's do it. So, we've got a move and a punch here on these 2 cards, and the heroic will help us get through the star there. So, that's looking good. So, where are we? So, Cyclops stands up. He's going to put... Oh, it's going to come right down to the... Oh, there's so many locations that could just, like, snowball here. So, Hodge could get us here, but we'll see. I feel like we're 50-50 here. So, 2 wilds, and a move and a punch. Move and a punch. Because we don't need to move anywhere, because we can at least stay here and get rid of at least 1 thug. So, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll use our wild on this star here. Oh, we've only got to get through 1 or 2 more cards here. So this could be like 1 or 2 more heroes. Maybe even 1 hero's turn could get through these, because these only have 1 each. So who's coming up next? It is Jean Grey. She's got a move and a punch. So she's got a move and a punch. She's got a punch and a star. So she could do the punch and the star here, so let's get rid of the move. I think that makes sense. Alright. Ooh. Alright. Hodge. We've got 1 location with a crisis token on it. What is he going to do? Did we actually deal damage to... We did, yeah. Iceman took the hit from there. I think he lost a heroic or something. Okay. Hodge. Alright. It is a BAM. And he is putting more guys out. Is it going to be in the location that we want or not? Uh-oh. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, man, I think we might have just got away with this, but we'll go through it and we'll see what happens. So, we get a BAM. So, he's going to deal damage to one of us. We definitely don't want to do it to Marvel Girl. We don't want to do it to Beast because he's only got 1 health. Cyclops or Iceman could probably take another hit. Let's go Cyclops. Let's just, because he's not going to have another turn for a while, so we'll just get rid of that. Okay. Then over here, this thug takes a hit. Oh, sorry, goes over here. Oh, and I was supposed to put these guys back on the dashboard. If they go back on the dashboard and it's not there, they can go away. But technically, he might have got one of those other cards that he would have put them straight back out. Okay, and this one goes here. Okay, from his turn. In this case, though, so here we do that, and Iceman takes another hit. So let's get rid of this movement in case Iceman does have to have another turn, because we've got a movement showing here. So maybe that will help. Put that under the deck, the deck there. Okay, so this will be it. Let's see. Is he doing enough to put Crisis? He needs to put. He's got 1, so he needs to put 3 Crisis tokens out here. He's putting 1 Crisis here because he's supposed to put 3 in that location. So that's not the case. So he's putting thugs out. So we put 1 here. You can't put the other 2 out. So that is a Crisis token. Then he wants to put 1 in this location. It is also full, so he puts another Crisis token out. But the other location over here, guarded by Cyclops and Beast, they're guarding the police precinct. He puts 1 thug out there, which is not enough to cause an overflow. So he's got 3 out of the 4 overflows. Okay, Hodge, you're trying your darndest here, but I think we've done it, because I think now we've only got 3 symbols to put out, and that should easily be able. We should easily be able to do that with 2, even 1 hero here. Okay, especially considering we've got a double wild here. So, well, I think we can do this here with this card here. Yeah, we can. So we've got our move and our punch. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the move here, sorry, the punch here, I should say. Punch there. Okay, that frees us up to now move on to the star. We don't have a star here, but we do have a wild, so we can do that. And technically we could use the other wild to finish this off, but I'm going to use the movement from this one, and Jean Grey saves the day with a movement. And there we go, we have righted our wrongs, we've cleared our name, we've disassociated ourselves from Cameron Hodge, and we can hold our heads high as mutants again. So fantastic. Well, there you go. I hope that gives you a good sense of how the game works, of how these rules work here, and sort of how the game is supposed to feel. It's he doesn't really come after you hard in terms of hitting you hard, but he just sort of does niggle sort of stuff to you. The having to play randomly sort of really sort of makes it awkward, you know, him stealing your cards back and that sort of thing. You can get really lucky or unlucky with some of those as well, and that's all sort of part of the fun there. For those sort of reveal moments like, oh, was it going to be civilians or is it going to be thugs, you know? So there is that randomness there where you could have some swingy games, I think, because of that. But I still think it sort of creates those tension moments where you're sort of flipping the card to see what you've got. The locations here, you know, how they also work towards sort of stripping your cards there. It's a little bit, even just through playing this again, you know, I saw some things where I'm like, oh, how does the timing of that work again? I haven't sort of come, like, you know, that's not come up before in a game and that sort of thing as well. So I think I'm going to have to make these BAM effects. But I like the idea that they always happen, though. That's interesting. I might just have to specify that this happens after, after placing these, or I might have to specify that you put these cards down. Maybe, I'll just have to clarify that, I think. But that's an interesting thing that's come up. But yeah, I hope that sort of felt like it was challenging enough. We did win, that was good. We sort of had the benefit of wilds there. They were trickier to get through, but we did have the benefit of wilds there, especially at the end sort of thing. So playing on heroic mode and that sort of thing, not playing with the wilds would be is also an interesting sort of way to sort of adjust the difficulty of this mode as well. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I'm really feeling good about sort of where it's at. The sort of feedback sort of phase now I'm really interested to see as well. So, you know, what you guys think of this in general. I've had people sort of give me some comments as well about perhaps this is too hard, because he's potentially got the most health of any, you know, if you think of the tokens as health, he's got the most health of, you know, any villain in the game, or, you know, close to, or whatever it might be. But hopefully I've showed here that because he doesn't come after you that hard at the beginning, you've sort of got a bit of survivability. You can generally sort of last. It's just about how quickly you sort of complete this track. Sort of most of the time I get to around about here where I clear it. So I've got a little bit more work to do going back this way. So it was, but I've still managed to get back there. Sometimes coming from here, sometimes not. I've had all the games usually come down to 1 or 2 more turns. You know, where you either run out of his cards or you run out of your. You know, it's always. Seems to get to this like exciting last phase sort of thing, which is quite good. So I'm happy with that aspect of it. But yeah, hopefully I've showed that this track here, it's not really the equivalent of health in a sense, because when you're trying to damage a villain with health, you're having to spend all these other actions to get to him. You have to hope that you sort of get the right combination of actions in the right turn where you can get to him to deal the damage. Action tokens like heroics become a little bit useless then, and that sort of thing. So whereas with this, yeah, you've got to do a lot more technical sort of putting tokens down, but you can pretty much use every token at your disposal. Every token or every action is sort of helpful as long as you can combo them in the right order, in the right way. But if you've cleared the wild goose chases, then you've got a bit of agency with that, and you can usually always, you know, get a little bit of progress on the chart. So I think that sort of does make it doable, and as you can see, this has worked. So yeah. So but I also have definitely played missions where it's just there's been a cascade of crisis things come out. Where I've just been short, by 1 token or whatever, or 1 or 2 tokens. So it does seem to sort of have a bit of robustness there to it. So I hope you really enjoyed that. Even if you thought, oh, actually that doesn't really work, or one of the things I can see is that there is a lot of fiddliness to it. It is there's a lot of stuff to remember and upkeep, like, okay, you put them on here, and it's stuff that you're not used to in the general flow of the game. So you don't normally put your things here, you're used to putting them on here. So it is one of those sort of villains. There are other villains I've played, I think, that are more fiddly than others and that sort of thing. And I think this does fall in the category of fiddly, just because the nature of some of the rules that we're using here and that sort of thing. But I haven't found them overly taxing. As you saw, I hope, fingers crossed, I think I caught everything that I did. So I was making lots of little oversights and forgetting things, but usually I was able to sort of go, it was close enough that I was able to go back and remember it and that sort of thing. So I think part of the trouble I'm having is that I've played through so many iterations of this, like just little slight tweaks and changes, that sometimes I forget what version or what I've played before, sort of thing. So, but yeah, so hopefully we'll get the rules up on BGG at some point soon. I don't want to sort of put any pressure on the people helping me out, whatever time they need to take. Some of the rules that I've put together I think are a little bit wordy, so hopefully we can sort of get it a bit more condensed and so it fits the graphic design and that sort of thing as well. But yeah, anyway, that was Cameron Hodge, X Factor PR, villain extraordinaire. So let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope it actually just made a good game for you, a good game to watch, sort of thing. I had a lot of fun, especially playing this thematic battle with the actual old X Factor team and that sort of thing. That was a lot of fun too. So really looking forward to more stuff happening in the campaign as well. Better check my phones after filming this to see what might have dropped on the stretch goal side and that sort of thing as well. But definitely hope to hear from you guys. about what you thought. So anyway, Meeple Monkey out.